It's the Doublewide Dudes. Watch out. All right. Welcome back to another episode of Doublewide Dudes. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We've had a pretty fun week, AP, haven't we?
We have.
With the Fiesta shenanigans going on.
It's just been a rowdy city the last few weeks.
I don't think it's going to slow down, though, because we got the Spurs in the playoffs.
It's playoff time. Yeah, this I-10 rivalry going on right now. Real hot and heavy.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Game 6 in Memphis was a pretty good showing of what the Spurs are actually capable of, man. So if I was any team in the West, I'll be shaking in my boots right now.
Yeah, Kawhi's really come alive. I got to say, he's probably the number one player in the league right now.
Best pound for pound?
I'm going to say so. Best two-way player for sure, without a doubt.
You're going to dethrone the king there?
I think I got to after this year's performance. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of sleepers in our team. That's just the way Greg Popovich does it.
Yeah.
He picks up slide players that aren't really on anyone's radar during the draft or when trades are going on, you know?
Yeah, kind of like Jonathan Simmons. You know, he's probably got one of the coolest stories out there. Did you know he actually paid $150 for an audition to try out for the D-League up there in Austin?
Really?
Yeah, now he's one of my favorite players, definitely one of the most exciting the Spurs have, and getting a multi-million-dollar contract. And that's really a good lesson for a lot of us out there. You know, most of us are not going to get our dreams overnight. Mm-hmm. Most of us are going to have to put in hard work, long work, and, it's going to take some time before we see the fruits of our labor. And that's absolutely true for the dream of home ownership.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone's blessed with the opportunity to be 7 feet to play in the NBA.
Right.
Or to be born into a family where everything's easy.
Right. Most of us are going to have to put in a hard day's work today, tomorrow, and for ever long as it takes to achieve our goals and our dreams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I'm really excited about this podcast, AP. It's important to bring these topics to light and help them realize that you're not going to get the home of your dreams the first go-around. And even though the bank says you can afford it, doesn't necessarily mean it's in your best interest.
Right. And it either becomes the home of their dreams or the home of their nightmare when these folks bite off more than they can chew. And that's definitely something we saw here in South Texas at the height of the oil boom. Young kids in their 20s and 30s, and all of a sudden they're making $100,000 driving for these oil trucks and definitely working crazy hours. You know, I don't want to take that away from them. Mm-hmm. But just because the bank says you can afford a home doesn't always mean that that's the right choice for you. And, unfortunately, a lot of those folks ended up losing their home when the oil boom crashed. Mm-hmm. It's not always just about foreclosure either, Mousetrap. I know you and I both have friends that bit off more than they could chew at the beginning just because, the bank said they could and all their friends and family thought it was a nice-looking home.
Yeah.
And it was. But now it's essentially a nice-looking prison because they're going to work, they're paying their mortgage. They're going to work, they're paying their mortgage. And they can't even go out at night and enjoy their best friend they just got married to, you know?
Yeah. I mean, these weekends get stretched real thin when, you're going to go out for a nice dinner or a movie or just do something fun that's going to kind of alleviate the stress from your daily life. Right? There's winding down and taking time to set apart for yourself is going to be really important on your health. I mean, your happiness.
Yeah.
Things are going to keep you on level and just keep you moving forward.
Right. It's not just time either, Mousetrap. You also got to put away some money for yourself, and it's certainly important to invest and to think about the future. But at the end of the day, none of us are taking this with us when we go. And I really think it's critical to put a little aside to get out and enjoy life. Mm-hmm. We joke about you being the most interesting man on the team, but it's just really cool to see the pictures of your trips to Australia, and I can't even think of all the places you've been to. But I got to imagine if you had a sky-high mortgage, you probably wouldn't be taking those trips. You know?
Absolutely. I had just gotten out of college. And thankfully I had a job, but it wasn't something I was passionate about or really be enthused on doing it on a day basis, So I had the opportunity to go traveling. I bought a one-way ticket to Thailand. I did a little country hopping, you would say, me and my buddy from high school, well, really from elementary. Some of the friends that I was talking about in the last episode.
Yeah.
He's living an incredible lifestyle. I mean, been doing this since 2009. In the summers, he works up in Alaska as a tour guide. In the winters, he can travel. And back in 2013, I saw him going to Thailand, and it was just the perfect opportunity for me, And if I had a mortgage or something to tie me down, that definitely wasn't in my plans. I mean, that I wouldn't be able to do that.
Right. Yeah, it's important for folks, Mousetrap, to think about what they want out of life. I've seen a lot of my friends that got out of high school. They went to college because that's what everybody said they were supposed to do. Got their master's because that's what everybody said they were supposed to do. And now they're just getting newly married, no kids, but they're looking at 2,000, 3,000 square foot homes because that's what everybody says they're supposed to do. And life's not necessarily supposed to be lived like that. Buying a home is a huge decision, and it's one that only you can make for yourself. Right? And, if you're buying a home that you love because you love it, fantastic. If you're not considering a starter home because of what others may say or think about you, well, then, unless they're paying your mortgage, I don't know how much that really should matter.
Yeah, that's why it's real important to consider an affordable housing as your first home, an option, AP. You don't want to be a slave to paying your mortgage. Right? I mean, if you enjoy your job, that's good. I mean, you're going to keep working and keep moving forward. When you jump out the gate and get into a high-paying mortgage right off the back, it's really going to leave you little options to go to the lake or go to the beach, take short vacations with your friends, visit family in another state, whatever it may be. Those funds that you would normally use for that are basically going to go to your high mortgage.
Right. And that's... let's not forget about the people that don't love their job. There's a lot of folks out there, and especially right out of college. I mean, you were just talking about it wasn't your passion, right? And I think right out of college, folks in their 20s and 30s, they deserve to find something they're passionate about to go to work to every day. And like you said, if you've got a high mortgage, well, then you essentially have to go to work because you're a slave to that mortgage. Yeah,
I mean, that's a nightmare in my eyes, really. Especially when it's repetitive and you really feel dragged down by the whole situation.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to have the opposite of that, but a lot of people don't. That's why it's really important to consider an affordable house as your starter home, AP, because that's going to give you the freedom to do the things that you want to do, not be stuck to paying a high mortgage, right? Right.
Overall quality of life should improve with the housing purchase.
Yeah.
And if you've got a beautiful house from the outside, but you're trapped inside of it because you can't afford to go pay to do anything else, well, then that might not be the dream situation you thought you were getting into.
Yeah.
And one really important thing to consider when making a purchase is what's called opportunity cost. And basically what that is, if you spend $1 here on the left, well, then that's $1 you don't have to spend here on the right, if that makes sense. And, even something as simple as keeping your mortgage $500 less than you might have been looking at, well, that either frees up $500 to go to the beach like you were talking about, go take a trip, to see your friend get married, $500 to put away in savings for something bigger and better. And that's really what a starter home is all about. I've got a buddy up in the hill country up there in Pipe Creek, and him and his wife, they purchased a single wide for their first home. And they also purchased a beautiful 5-acre piece of property for it. Yeah. And this is when they had just gotten married and back before they had kids. But because of the decisions they made then and there to truly purchase a starter home, a home they could afford, they were able to pay off the note on both the single wide and the land much, much quicker. And when it was all said and done, they used that land as equity on a loan to build a custom site-built home of their dreams.
Yeah, that's a really good example, AP. He He didn't go with the house of his dreams in the country. Get a builder to go out there and drop a ridiculous amount of money. He made the smart choice of going with an affordable house at first. That way he can put more money towards the land and then essentially do what him and his wife originally planned.
Yeah, they stair-stepped it.
Yeah. And that kind of reminds me of my brother. He recently just sold this house to move into an apartment temporarily while they're going to start saving a little bit more money to actually get into the home that they want. Things were a little tight, and he didn't want something to happen to the house, the AC going out, something with the foundation were to happen. He really didn't have the funds to pay for a fix like that. All right, so he made the choice to sell the home and save a little bit more money by getting an apartment for now, and then him and his wife and the family can get into something they want.
Right, right. Yeah, buying a home's a long-term play. It's something that needs to be thought out for the long term, not just the here and now. And even if you've got to stay with your folks an extra year or two, or stay in an apartment or a rental home for an extra year or two to get a good, solid foundation under you, it's definitely something that makes the experience of buying a home that much more enjoyable. Mm-hmm. Homes definitely do take maintenance and definitely do cost money to keep in good working order. And that's the benefit of starter homes or affordable housing in general.
Yeah.
It gives you something you can get in, keeps the mortgage low, and frees up money not just for travel and other freedoms we talked about, but also for things like maintenance or repairs or remodels that you want to do in your current home. Mm-hmm. Statistically, most folks move every 5 to 7 years, and there's a reason they call it a starter home. Chances are, by the numbers, your first home is not going to be your forever home.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I think it's a really good idea to go into this home purchase with the long-term goals in mind, and really making sure that this initial home purchase sets you and your family up for where y'all want to be 10, 20 years from now.
Yeah, it really is a step-by-step process, AP. You need to be looking at your first home as a long-term investment. What are you going to be doing 5 to 6 years from now? Are you going to sell the home? You're going to keep it? You're going to renovate it? You're going to rent it out? There's a lot of possibilities that you can do. Sometimes you got to make a short-term sacrifice today to be more comfortable tomorrow.
Absolutely. Right? I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first house Elsa and I bought. We're going on 7 years of marriage this year, and we've had 3 houses in our relationship together. As our family got bigger, and we kept adding kids. We're at 4 now. We had to keep expanding and growing our houses. Mm-hmm. But I remember our first home up in Canyon Lake, and having to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning so I could make the hour and a half drive to work, mm-hmm. and do it all over again at the end of the day. And definitely wasn't something I wanted to do. But for us, it made a lot more sense than buying an apartment closer to town and spending our money that away. So, now it's not a home we live in currently, but it's one that we were able to rent out, and someone else is helping us to pay the mortgage on that one. Mm-hmm. What's easy today is usually not what's going to be easier for tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And what's fun today is usually not what's going to set you up for success tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And that's what starter homes are really all about. Getting something that's good for now, getting something that sets you up better today than you were yesterday, but also sets you up better for tomorrow than maybe making another decision. And, buying the home of your dreams your first go around, I can't emphasize enough, has set more people up for failure mm-hmm. Than I really care to mention.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely doesn't sound fun, that hour and a half commute.
No. It makes Fiesta traffic look like a cakewalk.
Right.
But I'm really glad we did it. We were a newly married couple. I was still trying to find my career and my path in life. And had we purchased a home that maybe we wanted to at the time, that cost a bit more, then there was a strong possibility we could have lost that house.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important to get an affordable home as your starter home. Right? If you're a first-time home buyer, you don't want to necessarily max out your budget, and just because the bank says you can.
Right.
You want to leave money to enjoy time with your family and friends, be able to have those freedoms when you're young, and make those good memories, and while at the same time setting yourself up for long-term success. Right. Well, that does it for this episode, guys. Tune into the next one where we're going to give you 3 starter home hacks to do just that. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you then.